Hello world, Stephen Michael Zach here, and today we're taking a look at the Neewer CB 200. Now, I did buy this with my own money, so these are going to be my own brutal and honest opinions as always. So, let's take a look at what comes inside the box. My own brutal and honest opinions as always. This is new to me. Okay, so flipping open the box, what we see here is we see the manual and instructions and all that. You do get a cord, which is incredibly long, probably about, 6 or 9 feet. Then you pull up the foam, and you get the unit itself. There is no case with this. And we're going to go ahead, and we have the unit, and of course, we get the dish, and that is it. That is all. Okay, so let's talk build quality here. Now, first off, the light is made of all aluminum. It is a little bit heavy, but not bad. Not as bad as the light I reviewed last week, which was the GVM 650B Pro, which you can find right there. But let's talk about this light here. Now, first off, there is a little bit of foam here. I would highly recommend keeping this piece of foam because when you store this, it does have to go inside the dish. And unfortunately, they did not give you a piece of foam for inside the dish. So this is gonna help protect it as much as it can. So looking at the light, let's start off with the release here. Now you do have to pull back on the release and then that just comes off. But when you slap something on, let's say you're gonna slap the dish on here, that's gonna lock in. And to unlock it, you have to twist it and take it off. So there you go. There is a protective glass on the LEDs and you get strip LEDs here. You get a nice mesh cover here for exhausting the heat. You get a nice metal grip right here, which is very nice. The yoke is also made of solid aluminum, and you do get a nice, albeit all cheap plastic little knob here, but it seems to work just fine and is pretty solid. Flipping this thing over, you do get an umbrella holder. It is oddly way back in the back, and you have your power on, power off. Now, when you're using this thing, do not worry because there is a big sign here pointing to where the power button is, which I think is just hilarious. Now, let's take a look at the yoke itself, and what they've done is this is a ratchet system, but they went ahead and they put these washers in between the jaws, so you can point this pretty much anywhere you want. I think that's a really neat fix. I will be doing this to all my lights that have this kind of like jaw system because it works very nicely, and you do have a twist knob right here, and it works okay. I'm not a fan of these twist knobs, but there you go. There you have it. It feels good in my hand, so not bad at all. Okay, so let's take a look at the controls. Now, first off, you get your boost, you get CCT and your temperature here. This does both Celsius and Fahrenheit. You get your fan and channel settings, and you do get your scenes. There is a fuse in here. It did not come with a spare fuse in the box. And you get your Bluetooth reset, and you get this very nice feeling dial that clicks in. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll follow the big power sign all the way down and flip this on. And right away, we get an absolutely beautiful screen that you can see from really any angle. You are getting your power here, you're getting your color temperature, and you're also getting in Fahrenheit your temperature. This does have a little bit of an overheat warning to tell you when this is going to overheat, and this is showing that the fan is on, is working. So let's go ahead and let's go to the second button to the top here, and let's click that. And let's go ahead and hold that down. And as you can see now, this turns to Celsius for our friends in other countries, which is very, 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 very cool. I will go back to Fahrenheit. So there you go. Now, this goes from 100 all the way down to 0, which is nice. And just to give you an idea of where 0 is, you can barely see that. So this does get very, 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 very light, which is pretty fantastic. And you click this in and it drops down to the color temperature, and this goes from 6500 Kelvin all the way down to 2700 Kelvin. We'll go to 39 because that's what we shoot here, and we'll go to about 25% is good. So let's go ahead and first off, you have this button which will reset the Bluetooth. I don't need to do that. So let's go ahead, and there is a boost button in the top left corner. Now, this is a 200 watt light, but when you press this, it is going to give you a super duper boost. Let's go to 100 and essentially make this a 300 watt light, very much like the Juin I believe it's G200 or X200. So you do get boost. This is telling you that the fan is ramping up. This is getting hot. Now I ran this for about 15-20 minutes and I never heard the fan, and it never really overheated. So I'll go ahead and hit boost and get out of here. And we're back to fan mode. Now let's go ahead and click onto the fan here. We'll hold that down. And then we have access to channels. This is going to work with the app. You could put this on a channel and just assign a channel, use it with the app. So there you go. There you have it. Holding it down again, we go back to fan. There is just one fan mode. Next, we're going to press the scene button on the bottom right here. And we get multiple scenes here. We get kind of this flashy firework kind of thing. We get TV, we get your INT, your CCT, you get your fire, your pulse, you get kind of your flashing, you get welding, you get explosion, you get faulty bulb, you get paparazzi, and you get lightning. Now when you press this in, you can control the brightness, but that is it. You have absolutely no controls over these special effects. And pressing the top button on the right, we go back to CCT mode. And of course, the cool thing about this is yes, once you pull the plug out, you can actually spin this thing 360. So for those of you who that matters, you can do it. Okay, so here we are with no dish on, and let me just show you the beam. It has, I see a little bit of duplicating on the end, but it is not terrible. It seems to be really, it seems to be on both sides, but actually quite nice, not bad at all. Now let's go ahead and slap on the dish here. And we do get a tremendous hot spot in the middle here, which is to be expected with this kind of dish. And then we look at the ends, and they're fairly a clean cut. There's a little bit of fading on the ends, but if you look at the beam, it's pretty solid. So not bad at all. You're getting a little bit of fading on the ends, but not too terrible. So I did measure this, and this is off by a 1.5 green correction gel. So just keep that in mind, that it is skewing very magenta at this point. And as far as fan noise, I cannot hear anything. Let's go ahead and hit boost mode here, and I can guarantee you, I literally have to put my ear up to it to hear it. You will hear it gradually spin up, but it is still super quiet. So they did a great job with the fan here. So let's talk pros and cons. Now, first off, when there is no case for this. So when you store this, you will need to not only have the cup on, but I would highly suggest keeping this little protective cap, because once you stick this in there and you try to put it back in the foam box, unlike the GVM, which I reviewed last week right there, there is no foam insert. I really wish there was. This is going to get banged up and dinged. You're going to want to find something to put in here so that this doesn't get bent. Even though it is quite solid, again, in travel, really not the best solution. So that is the first negative. The second negative is the fact that this thing has a hotspot with a dish, which is pretty indicative to this kind of a faceted reflector. And again, it does have a little bit of fading on the outside, but it's not too bad. The beam is nice and round. So there you go. Now, next off is this weird release system where you have to hold this and twist. And then when you put this on, it locks in. It's fine. It works. There's absolutely no play. We'll talk about that later. So some of the other negatives is the fact that the special effects are just kind of there. You have absolutely no control over the special effects. They are what they are. You can control the brightness. That's it. And they're just kind of fine. And finally, the last con, actually the last two cons, one of them is the umbrella holder. While you do get an umbrella holder, it is pretty far back there. So if you have an umbrella with a shorter handle, that might be a problem for you. And lastly, this thing is super magenta. It is out by a 1.5 green correction gel. Now, it will work very well with the GVM 650B Pro, which I reviewed last week right there. Yeah, those are both out by a 1.5 green. So while this is very magenta, keep in mind that lights do green up over time. It is just super magenta, and you will either have to, one, add a correction gel to this, two, if you have it, use plus minus green on your other lights to match this, or three, you will have to match this with your camera. So just keep that in mind. This is going to eat into your setup time a bit. Now, if you're using two of these units or something that kind of has the same amount of 1.5 green shift, then I can see no reason why you wouldn't use something like this, which leads us into the pros. Now, first off, you do get a screen on the front to protect it from bugs getting burned onto the LED. There's no play here, which is very nice. You can use this with a flash. Interesting, this must have been a stock, like I said. The build quality is absolutely excellent. It is rock solid. It feels good. It's a bit heavy, but but it's about the same weight as like an Aperture 300D. You do get a very nice metal handle here, and the yoke they did correct for the jaws here for the rosette system here. They put rubber washers in here, so you could really aim this anywhere. And I will actually be doing this to all my lights that have the other kind of system. The knob, while not great, tightens well and feels good. It's big enough for my big meaty fingers, so not really a con for me. I really do wish they gave me a ratchet, but it's okay. Now, swinging around to the back here, they did a lovely job on the controls here. And let's go ahead. The nice buttons here, nice knobs. You do get your cooling in both Celsius and Fahrenheit, which is very cool for our friends in other countries. And the controls are very, very, very intuitive. The screen is nice and bright. I have absolutely no complaints about the way that this thing works. You do get that boost mode, so it goes from a 200 to a 300, which is excellent. And it does have overheating controls. Now, I ran the boost mode for about 15 minutes and it did not overheat. So I think your overheat times will vary depending on where you are. Other than that, the power button is in a very bizarre spot, but of course you have this very big label telling you where the power button is so that you don't forget, which is very, very, very cool. Okay, so who is this for? Well, this is a beginner / intermediate light. Now, I will tell you that for the price of this thing, there are other lights that are more color accurate around the same price. This does have excellent build quality, but at the end of the day, it's really about not only the build quality, but the light that it produces and the extra stuff like the special effects. And this just kind of falls a little short because you have no control over the special effects like you do on the GVM stuff, on some of the GVM stuff. And again, it's out by a 1.5 correction gel, which is going to be time. You're going to spend time correcting this light if you're going for accuracy on a set. If you're just doing an interview and you want to slap a softbox in this and set it up and have another one as a backlight, or just use a light that you have that has plus minus green so you can match it to this light really quickly for an interview, or if you're running around and you're doing, documentaries or something. I could see this being used, although for documentary, you probably want something lighter. And I could also see this being used as a studio light. While there is no studio mode, it does have a on-off toggle, which is fantastic. So I can see this being used in a studio situation. But as far as traveling, not really. So those are my thoughts, but I want to know yours. So leave your questions and comments in the notes below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to mash the bell button to be notified when we drop a brand new video. And feel free to use the links below as it helps out the channel. And please sign up for our brand new mailing list because we've got some great upcoming announcements that will only be announced there. So that's it. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and this is New to Me.